But now it's time for the main event. And man, when I was looking at this watch, I'm like, even if they go an insane amount of time, this is not going to be as lengthy of a show as the night prior. It was paced fairly well. I would say they went a lot less on the video packages on night 2 than night 1. They had some pretty elaborate video packages that, at least 3-4 minute pieces that add up when most of the matches are attached to them. I also found, and maybe you had a different experience watching like the actual broadcast, like obviously the advertising was prevalent. I didn't feel it was like the wallpaper effect that I got on night 1, where it just seems like any available real estate, let's plaster it. I felt it was a bit more subdued on night 2 than night 1. Like you saw the dude wipes thing and it was on the post as opposed to just blanketing it across.
Right.
They did have some of that. It just felt it was less than the first night. And as Paul Levesque mentioned about, we're trying out a lot of new things. I'm sure they're trying to strike like a happy medium of this is new territory for them of introducing all of these ads and what is the healthy medium of like what works versus what is too much or even distracting to the viewer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure there's maybe some of that, maybe adjustments between night 1 and night 2 that we're not even necessarily aware of. I thought it was very notable how the main event did not have any title sponsor.
Nothing. No, They kept it clean for the main event.
Now, what obviously they could sell that match if they wanted to, probably even at a premium if they wanted to.
Maybe American Home Shield was like, no, we're here for The Rock.
They chose not to, and does it give you some indication of restraint on creatively on their behalf to not sell that space?
Would have been a great question. Yeah, I would be curious about that. So Roman Reigns look, Cody comes out first and he elevates from the stage in this incredible looking mask that I can only imagine what the market price will be for this inevitable marketed mask.
I don't think he'll be selling it.
You don't think they're going to sell this mask?
Oh, you mean this personal one? I don't think he'll be selling it, but like replicas?
Oh yeah.
Maybe sure.
You could sell anything. One he was wearing, and accompanied by Brandy, that got a big reaction.
Big reaction for Brandy, and that was teased, of course, from the Heyman introduction as well.
Well, and Cody had actually said on the MMA Hour this week, Brandy, you will see Brandy. Okay. So it was somewhat expected. But he comes out, and then we had the All City Philadelphia music program, orchestra and choir to perform Roman Reigns' entrance, and I thought this was really cool.
Yeah, I thought visually both entrances looked really grand. I mean, still though, if we're comparing best entrances throughout the week, I would still give the big edge to Jade Cargill, Naomi, and Bianca Belair, followed by The Rock right underneath. Those two were my favorite entrances, but these two are also really strong as well, just given the context of everything.
So we have, big atmosphere for the match. This crowd is going insane from the second Cody is out, and we start the match, and early on, Cody pulls out a table, but Reigns puts it back underneath and got a ton of heat for that. The old reliable kendo stick making its way into another match, and Cody takes it away and misses in the corner, and things escalate as they fight into the crowd. Reigns gets suplexed onto a riser, and then they make their way back to the ring, and it's Reigns on offense until Cody manages a bunch of super kicks to Cody. He had a super kick party on Roman Reigns, and then we get the double clothesline spot. Both are up, and Cody starts to fire up, including a bionic elbow, and he goes to clear the desk. This desk has been cleared out how many times over the course of 2 nights? I mean, they put all this stuff back together, and woof, they just clear it off. Reigns lands a low blow, though, and power bombs Cody through this desk, which does, in fact, break. Follows with a Superman punch and a spear, which gets stopped by a kick, and Cody responds with the Cody Cutter for a 2 count. Cody stops a rock bottom and spears Reigns himself for a near fall, and then goes for the crossroads. He hits one, goes for the second, but Jimmy Uso appears. And there was an aspect to this match that here we are 15 minutes in, and at least for me mentally, with this Bloodline rules, this match ain't really going into gear until we start to get the procession of run-ins. So at least when Jimmy appeared, it's like, okay, we're into the next phase of the match where you can believe some of these near falls on a more significant level.
Yeah, and I think that sort of reaction, or at least that sort of thinking, is dependent on maybe how aware you are of like the patterns of professional wrestling. Because like I'll say, plenty of people seem to like react loudly to the petty. What was the move? Roman doing the crossroads and leading to that kick out. It wasn't a silent reaction. They were reacting big to spots like that.
So Jimmy is out and super kicks Cody when Jey Uso's music plays, and he comes out and they fight on the ramp, culminating in Jey spearing Jimmy off the ramp through a table. These two managed to have a better match on night 2 than night 1.
Somebody was making up for something. Yeah.
It leads to a roll up from Cody as Reigns is distracted by all this chaos going on, and he kicks out, and Reigns comes off the ropes and lands the spear for a big 2 count. Cody then spears Reigns on the floor through a barricade, and you've got Michael Cole screaming, "Take that, Roman! Take that!" The crowd's going nuts, and he pulls him into the ring. 2 crossroads hit, and as he goes for the third, now Solo Sikoa enters and hits the Samoan spike, and then lifts Reigns and puts him on top of a lifeless Cody, and Cody manages to kick out at 2, and they do the spear spike combo, which was a nice callback to they were having so much success, and the audience sees that as a viable finish, and Cody kicks out again. And that's when John Cena's music hits, and he runs down to dispose of Solo Sikoa and hit Roman Reigns with an AA. And this is where we get the procession of cameos. So
we already began the procession of cameos.
Well, I guess we're getting into the special guest stars,
surprises,
okay? The ones that are going to have their own buses and appearance fees. So he hits Sikoa with an AA through the desk, and The Rock's music plays, and they go nuts for The Rock's music, but then they're connecting the dots that we're going to get The Rock and John Cena, yet another once in a lifetime moment between these two.
Yeah.
So they get into the ring, they go face to face, and it's a cool moment they have, leading to a rock bottom onto Cena. And then the Shield's music plays, and I think this one caught everyone off guard because it's Seth Rollins in his riot gear, in his Shield gear, and he comes out and he's taken out by a Superman punch, and Rock is standing tall with the weightlifting belt when the Undertaker's gong goes off, and Undertaker wasn't making that sprint down to the ring. He appears in the ring behind The Rock and choke slams The Rock. The lights go out again. The Undertaker has taken The Rock into the depths of hell, and we don't know where they've gone. I feel that he has taken The Rock into pre-production for the Smashing Machine. I think that's where
taken him to 1999.
That's right. That's right. They're going back in time to the heyday of Mark Kerr. So Rock is gone, Taker's gone, and Reigns has a chair and hits Rollins from behind. The exact reversal of the turn almost 10 years ago, exactly, in June of 2014 with the Shield turn. And
almost like, I think the idea was he had a chance of using the chair on Cody, but he couldn't help himself because of his hatred of Rollins for this particular moment, wanting to get revenge in this moment, so much so that it cost him ultimately.
It was a lot like the story with Drew.
Yep.
And I'm sure they're going to lean into this. Like, in the end, Rollins is going to have a stake in this title reign ending. Rollins did not do a whole lot here. Like, he was out here to just get like kind of destroyed. And it was an odd like, not so much that you would want Rollins to be involved, obviously, but
so, they will claim, and they can claim, that Rollins was ultimately the one who delivered the final blow by simply being there and distracting Roman enough through their pass together, that Roman was distracted enough to lose the championship in the end. I would have liked to hear some explanation for why Rollins decided to get into Shield gear with Shield music for this particular thing. Obviously, it is to set up this particular moment, reminding us of how Rollins turned on Roman Reigns. Did Seth Rollins plan this out that deeply to say, I'm going to wear this so that he's going to
turn my back on him?
Yeah, so he's going to think of the time that, I turned on him so that he'll be distracted enough. I don't know, but that psychology was at least a little bit wasn't maybe as communicated well enough in this particular moment just yet.
Yeah. so he hits Rollins in the back and then goes for the spear. And again, Cody kicks him in the face, and it's one crossroads, a second, and a third crossroads. And that leads to the win in 33 minutes, 26 seconds. Cody Rhodes wins the match. I wish they had some catchy tagline, though, to attach to what this title signified, but nothing was coming to mind. And then it was the post-match celebration where his family was brought into the ring. They brought talent from the back. Orton was out. Owens was out. They had LA Knight, and then Cody hands the title to his mom. A great moment. And then calls out Bruce Pritchard and Paul Levesque to come down to the ring, and he hugs both of them. Nick Khan was out as well. Like, this is the guy for our new era, and kind of the stamp on this is our company moving forward. And that was the conclusion of WrestleMania. You got your big payoff.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the big WrestleMania babyface celebrations, reminiscent of obviously Bret Hart at the end of WrestleMania 10. Chris Benoit, WrestleMania 20, with Eddie Guerrero, and then Daniel Bryan, WrestleMania 30. Was it a similar scene? Did they lift him up on the? I
mean, they had the whole confetti big celebration. Yeah,
babyface triumphant, but this one almost especially, maybe even more significant than all the rest, given that it was a 2-year build, a double sort of a rematch of a prior existing main event. This was also one that seemed to signify a lot more than just a babyface winning. This one was meant to signify the beginning of, quote unquote, whatever new era that they're trying to promote, including a scene here with the maker himself, Triple H, getting thanked along with Bruce Pritchard. So the place exploded. I mean, the fact that I think there was this was a rematch gave people enough, even a little hint of doubt that they could do the same thing last year, this year again, and I think that made for a real genuine elation by the end of this match that Cody did actually win the championship. The match itself, bell to bell, it was kind of your Roman Reigns match for a lot of it. Anytime Roman has the heat, it's a very slow moving match. Not that this crowd was quiet, because they were so invested in the story that I think they were reacting to a lot. But as a viewing experience, when we're just talking about a match, it was not, as satisfying as maybe the semi-main event. To me, the success of this match was going to hinge on the cameos and just all the shenanigans and how good and how surprising they ended up being. I love the Jimmy Uso interaction. As expected as it was, I thought I did not expect the big dive off the ramp through the table. And Solo Sikoa leading to the John Cena appearance was also, I think, incredibly well done. Now, from that point on, getting The Rock in that moment with John Cena was also an incredibly cool, surprise. Beyond that, getting Shield Seth Rollins maybe was a little bit unexpected and I think required a little bit of explanation. The Undertaker coming in, to me, was it was a nice pop, but also one thematically that I don't think really worked at all.
So the two ideas throwing out is if not Undertaker, does Austin work in this role?
Yeah.
And I guess your positive is that it's a monster pop. I guess the question is Austin showing up, Austin and Rock getting that big, in any way, does that overshadow, or do you think that would have enhanced the moment?
I think that enhances the moment. Now, okay.
And it's also Austin. Austin just might not have been.
So that to me felt like it my assumption is that this made more sense for Steve Austin to be a part of, given that it's The Rock and they are just career rivals, 1 and 2. So Undertaker and The Rock have had matches, but you don't think of those two as rivals. So I just read this as, Steve Austin didn't want to do it. I could be wrong. It did work. I don't lights off, Undertaker showing up and then taking The Rock to the depths of hell. Yes, it's cool. But Austin would have been so much that much better. Beyond that, that
would have been the best part of the new era is announcing we're no longer recognizing Undertaker's losses at WrestleMania.
He's undefeated again.
We're gonna take those. Do you remember when they did the Goldberg streak, and then they did Sid replicating the streak, where instead of beating guy, all he had to do was choke slam guys, and it would add a number to it. So like they could have maybe just started the streak over here.
Yeah, brand new streak right
Undertaker
now.
does the choke slam streak at Mania now.
Yeah. But beyond like maybe having an Undertaker or even a Steve Austin there, everybody who got involved in this match had something to do with the Bloodline. Whether it be Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, or
LA Knight.
LA Knight did not get. Oh, you mean like coming out?
He was out there.
Yeah. Well, I was just talking about the people interfering.
Okay.
Like including John Cena. These are all people who have a vested interest in seeing the Bloodline go down.
And
what does the Undertaker have, against the Bloodline?
He lost to Reigns at a Mania. I mean, that's,
okay.
That's the most I can give you.
Pre-Bloodline.
Yeah.
Isn't Rikishi and BSK? Did they have a falling out?
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Undertaker
whatever. It's the Undertaker. You got him at WrestleMania. People were not upset unless you were expecting Steve Austin.
Tune into his podcast and you'll find out all the juicy details. So as we were like talking about like how you structure this and the likelihood of these cameos, like part of it was I thought, okay, that final shot, are you going to have sort of all the different stars, whether it's like Austin and Cena, but Cody's like now Cody is the extension of these past generational stars.
Mount Rushmore, but that's
it. Yeah. And I kind of like the way that the closing scene, you had the current talent and not so much the others that I don't even think they would have overshadowed, but they did they were cognizant of these are our stars today that they left for the closing scene. You got to see Taker, you got to see Cena, and you got to see Rock, but they were not there at the end and didn't really need to be as well. So
all the baby faces come out, including a CM Punk, including the Rhodes family. -1 was there as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Brody Jr. was there as well.
Sami Zayn,
yep. Randy Orton holding him, and of course Paul Levesque and Bruce Pritchard.
And Punk, we should mention, was all over this as well. So
Cena was there.
Oh, Cena was there.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even notice him, so I can't say he overshadowed anything.
No, and even if like Steve Austin were to show up, I don't think he would have overshadowed Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was the guy this weekend, and this was a moment that I think the entire wrestling world had been waiting for 2 years. So beyond that, maybe the only notable thing was like there was specific sort of a focus from Cody Rhodes directed towards Seth Rollins as Rollins was limping out in his Shield gear, almost seeming to indicate. I mean, obviously a big.
They traded words, and Rollins kind of referenced the title as well. So you kind of had
So this might have been one of those, hey, you owe me types of scenarios, and
it's like, for what? Because you got hit in the back. Like I don't know. It wasn't like the most.
I had to drag my Shield gear out. I had to get the rights to the Shield music.
Maybe it's like I took a chair to my fractured back.
So that was
you got the big payoff moment. It's going to be the memorable one. I will say between the two, I thought the match last year was the better match of the two, but this was the finish you wanted. It was the symbolic, changing of the guard, and it was a big, and it's going to be positioned as a historical match in company history. The way they are going to, I think they're going to look at this. This is like their WrestleMania 1 all over again. This is Paul Levesque's WrestleMania 1.
Very much so. Yeah. So we'll see how they follow up on it beginning tomorrow on Raw, and I'm a lot more excited for this Raw After Mania than I am for previous years. I think the luster of Raw After Mania to me has been a little.
Last year's was awful. It was the one where Vince was back, and it was like it was a terrible show.
Yeah, and so tomorrow being the first, tomorrow really is the season premiere. This what you would consider a season finale, and tomorrow really is the season premiere where you might see a lot of new faces, the beginning of new storylines, new directions, and surprise returns potentially.
Could the ultimate symbol for the transition of this era to the new one have been the final moment? Cody's in the ring. He brings out Bruce Pritchard, who takes out his phone, deletes the contact. And the avatar is no more.
Okay.
I mean, how clear do we want to say he's gone? That's it. Yeah. WrestleMania 40, he's gone.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of ways. Maybe I felt like they were able to successfully symbolize the evaporation and the defeat of Vince McMahon through this show. Yes.